Most people walk through life with no idea what they are actually capable of. They wake up, follow the same routine, repeat the same excuses, and go to sleep, believing they've reached their limit. But the truth is far more brutal than that. You have no idea how great you really are. Not even close. The mind you carry, the body you live in, the energy inside you right now, it's operating at a fraction of what it was designed for. A fraction. And that should make you uncomfortable. It should make you angry. Because the version of you that exists today is only a shadow of what could exist if you ever decided to use your full potential. Think about this carefully. Every human who has ever changed the world started with the same basic equipment you have right now. A brain, a body, time. That's it. No one is born with a crown on their head or destiny stamped on their chest. The difference is not that they were given something special. The difference is they refuse to live small. They refuse to believe the quiet lie that says this is enough. Most people accept that lie. They accept average effort, average thinking, average discipline, and then they wonder why their life feels average. But deep down, if you're honest with yourself, you already know there's something more inside you. You felt it in moments when you pushed harder than usual, moments when you ignored fear and acted anyway, moments when you surprised yourself with how strong, how focused, how relentless you could be. Those moments are glimpses of your real potential. But instead of chasing that version of yourself, most people retreat back into comfort. They go back to what feels easy. They go back to what feels safe. And that's where potential dies. Not in failure, not in defeat. It dies in comfort. Comfort is the most dangerous place a human being can live. Because comfort convinces you that you're doing enough when you're not even close. It whispers in your ear every time things get hard. It tells you to slow down. It tells you to wait. It tells you tomorrow will be a better time to start. And every time you listen to that voice, the stronger version of you gets pushed further away. That's the tragedy most people never understand. They think their potential disappears overnight. It doesn't. It fades slowly every time you choose comfort instead of growth. But here's the part that should wake you up. That potential is still there, right now, sitting inside you like a loaded weapon waiting to be used. The problem is, most people never pull the trigger. They never test their limits. They never explore how far their mind and body can actually go. They stay inside a tiny circle of effort and call it their maximum. But it's not your maximum. It's your habit. Your habits define the version of you that exists today. If you wake up late, avoid challenges, distract yourself constantly, and escape discomfort, your potential remains buried. Not because you don't have it, but because you refuse to activate it. Potential is not something you talk about. Potential is something you unlock through action, through repetition, through discipline. And that's where most people fail. Because unlocking potential requires pressure. It requires effort that feels uncomfortable. It requires pushing past the moment where your mind says, that's enough. The mind is clever like that. It creates a false limit, a line that feels like the end. But that line is almost never real. It's a mental barrier designed to keep you safe and comfortable. The moment you push past it, something incredible happens. You realize there was more left in the tank. There's always more left in the tank. Think about the times you forced yourself to continue when you thought you were done. The extra set, the extra hour, the extra effort when everyone else stopped. That moment when your body said quit, but you didn't. What happened after? You discovered strength you didn't know existed. That's the pattern of human potential. Every time you push beyond your perceived limit, the limit moves. That's how greatness is built. Not through talent alone, but through relentless expansion of what you believe is possible. And the scary truth is most people never attempt that expansion. They operate their entire lives within boundaries that were never real. Boundaries created by fear, doubt, and social expectations. They worry about what people will think. They worry about failing publicly. They worry about standing out too much, so they shrink themselves. They hide their ambition. They play small. But playing small is a betrayal of what you're capable of. You are not built to live a life defined by hesitation. You are built to explore the limits of your strength, your creativity, your discipline, your courage. The human mind is capable of solving problems that once seemed impossible. The human body is capable of adapting to extreme challenges. But none of that ability appears unless it is demanded. Potential responds to pressure. If you demand little from yourself, you will receive little. If you demand everything from yourself, you will discover abilities you never imagined. That's why some individuals accomplish things that look superhuman. They didn't unlock a different brain. They simply demanded more from it. They refused to accept the comfortable standard most people settle for. And here's the truth that might shake you. The reason you feel restless sometimes, the reason you feel frustrated with your current situation, the reason you occasionally feel like you're meant for more, that feeling is not random. It's your potential trying to wake you up. It's the deeper part of you refusing to accept the limits you've been living under. But that voice only grows stronger if you listen to it. If you ignore it long enough, it fades. It gets buried under routines, distractions, and excuses. Eventually, people forget it was ever there. They convince themselves that this small life is all they were meant for. That's the saddest outcome a human can reach. Not failure, not struggle, but never discovering what they were truly capable of becoming. Imagine reaching the end of your life and realizing the strongest version of yourself never even showed up. The disciplined version never took control. The fearless version never acted. The relentless version never appeared. That realization would crush you, because deep down you would know it wasn't the world that stopped you. It was hesitation. It was comfort. It was the decision to stay inside a smaller version of yourself. But here's the powerful part of this moment right now. You're still here. You're still breathing. That means the story isn't finished. The stronger version of you hasn't disappeared. It's waiting. Waiting for the moment you stop accepting the life you're currently tolerating. Waiting for the moment you decide that average effort is no longer acceptable. Waiting for the moment you demand more from your mind, your body, your discipline, your courage. Because the truth is simple. You have no idea how great you really are. Not yet. But the moment you start pushing beyond comfort, beyond fear, beyond hesitation, that greatness begins to reveal itself, piece by piece. And once you see it, once you feel it, once you realize what you're truly capable of, there's no going back to the smaller version of yourself. The reason most people never discover how great they truly are is not because they lack ability. It's because they never place themselves in situations that demand it. Human potential does not reveal itself in comfort. It reveals itself under pressure, under challenge, under moments when quitting would be easier than continuing. But the modern world has trained people to escape those moments as quickly as possible. The moment something becomes difficult, the mind starts searching for an exit. It starts negotiating. It says, slow down, take a break, try later. Maybe this path isn't meant for you. Those thoughts feel logical, almost protective, but they are not protecting your future. They are protecting your comfort. And comfort is the greatest thief of human potential. Think about how powerful the human mind actually is. The same brain that invents technology, builds empires, creates art, solves impossible problems, and survives extreme conditions is sitting inside your head right now. Yet most people use only a tiny portion of that ability because they never challenge it. They feed it constant distraction, endless scrolling, endless entertainment, endless noise. The mind becomes weak not because it lacks power, but because it is never trained to focus that power. Imagine owning a machine capable of lifting thousands of pounds but never turning it on. That is exactly how many people live their lives. They carry extraordinary mental potential, but operate it at the lowest possible setting. The scary part is how normal this has become. Average effort is celebrated. Mediocre discipline is accepted. People laugh about procrastination as if it's harmless, but procrastination is not harmless. It is a silent destroyer of possibility. Every day you delay action, your potential waits in the background. Every day you choose distraction instead of growth, your future shrinks slightly. Those small delays accumulate until years disappear. Suddenly, the dreams that once felt urgent start feeling distant, and eventually people convince themselves they never had the potential in the first place. That is the lie many people end up believing. But the truth is, they never tested their limits long enough to find out what was possible. The mind has a fascinating pattern. It always tries to stop you before you reach your true limit. The moment effort becomes uncomfortable, it sends signals telling you to quit. Not because quitting is necessary, but because your brain is wired to conserve energy and avoid pain. That instinct kept humans alive thousands of years ago, but in the modern world it often holds people back. When the brain senses difficulty, it interprets it as danger even when it's actually growth. The moment you feel that resistance, that heavy feeling telling you to stop, you are often closer to unlocking your potential than you realize. That moment is a doorway. Most people turn around and walk away from it, but the individuals who walk through that doorway discover something powerful. They discover that the limit they felt was only a mental barrier. Once they break through it, they realize they can keep going much further. This pattern appears everywhere in life. Athletes discover it in training. Entrepreneurs discover it while building businesses. Artists discover it while mastering their craft. The moment when they think they are finished, when exhaustion appears, when doubt gets loud, they push forward anyway. And suddenly they unlock a level of performance they didn't know existed. That is how greatness is developed. It is not one giant leap. It is a series of moments where you refuse to stop when your mind tells you to. Every time you push through that barrier, your identity begins to change. You stop seeing yourself as someone who gives average effort. You begin seeing yourself as someone capable of more. Identity is everything when it comes to potential. If you believe you are weak, your actions will match that belief. If you believe you are capable of greatness, your actions begin aligning with that vision. But belief does not appear magically. It is built through evidence. Every time you do something difficult, every time you push past hesitation, every time you choose discipline over comfort, you collect evidence that you are stronger than your excuses. Over time, that evidence becomes confidence, and confidence multiplies your potential. Look at the people who accomplish extraordinary things. From the outside, they appear fearless, but the truth is, they feel fear, just like everyone else. The difference is, they refuse to obey it. Fear does not disappear for them. It simply loses its authority. When fear appears, they move forward anyway. That habit is what unlocks hidden ability. Because every time you confront fear, your mind expands its understanding of what you can survive and overcome. That expansion builds courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action despite fear. And courage is one of the strongest activators of human potential. Think about how many opportunities fear has already taken from people. Opportunities to start something meaningful. Opportunities to speak honestly. Opportunities to pursue goals that feel bigger than their current life. Instead of acting, they hesitate. They analyze too much. They wait for the perfect moment that never arrives. But potential does not grow through hesitation. It grows through movement. Even imperfect movement. The person who takes imperfect action every day will outperform the person who waits for perfect conditions. Another truth about potential is that it demands responsibility. The moment you realize you are capable of more, you can no longer hide behind excuses comfortably. You begin seeing the gap between what you are doing and what you could be doing. That awareness can feel heavy. Some people avoid it because it forces them to confront their own habits. But that confrontation is necessary. Growth begins with honesty. Honest evaluation of your effort, your discipline, your focus, your priorities. Once you accept where you currently stand, you gain the ability to change direction. And direction is far more important than speed. A small shift in daily actions can transform an entire future. Imagine a person improving just 1% every day. That improvement feels invisible at first, but over months and years it compounds into something extraordinary. Skills sharpen, discipline strengthens, confidence grows. Opportunities begin appearing because preparation meets timing. That is the real formula behind many success stories. They look sudden from the outside, but they are actually the result of years of steady effort. This is why patience is essential when unlocking potential. The mind wants quick results. It wants proof immediately, but true growth is slow in the beginning. That is why so many people quit early. They misinterpret slow progress as failure. In reality, it is the stage where foundations are being built. The people who stay consistent during that phase eventually reach a point where improvement accelerates dramatically. What once felt impossible becomes routine. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. That transformation is the reward for persistence. The greatest tragedy in life is not struggling. Struggle is part of the process. The greatest tragedy is never discovering how powerful you could have become if you had pushed yourself just a little further, if you had stayed disciplined a little longer, if you had believed in your potential a little more. But that tragedy is avoidable. The moment you decide to stop operating at the lowest level of your ability, everything begins to change. The moment you decide that average effort is no longer acceptable, the stronger version of you begins to emerge. And once that version starts appearing, it becomes impossible to ignore how much more is still waiting inside you. The limit moves further away. Suddenly, the version of you that once seemed impossible begins to appear in your daily life. That is the moment people start seeing the change in you. They notice your focus. They notice your discipline. They notice your intensity. They wonder what happened. But from your perspective, nothing magical occurred. You simply stopped negotiating with weakness. You stopped accepting the smaller version of yourself. You made a decision to explore how far your potential could actually go. And the deeper you explore it, the more you realize something incredible. The limits you once believed in were never real. They were assumptions created by your past habits and fears. The moment you challenge those assumptions, the boundaries begin collapsing. Imagine what your life would look like if you operated at even twice the level of discipline you currently have. Imagine the skills you could build, the opportunities you could create, the respect you could earn from yourself and others. That is not a fantasy. That is the result of consistently activating your potential. The truth is that the world rarely runs out of opportunities. What it runs out of are people disciplined enough to seize them. Most people hesitate. Most people wait. Most people doubt themselves long enough for the moment to disappear. But the individual who has trained their mind to act instead of hesitate begins capturing those opportunities repeatedly. Over time, that creates momentum. Momentum multiplies results. Small wins turn into larger victories. Confidence grows stronger. Fear loses influence. And eventually you reach a point where your life looks completely different from where it started. The journey to that point is not easy. It demands effort that most people are unwilling to give. It demands honesty about your weaknesses. It demands the courage to face challenges that expose your limits. But those demands are not punishments. They are the process of becoming stronger. Every challenge you overcome sharpens your mind. Every obstacle you solve increases your capability. Every moment you continue despite difficulty builds resilience that cannot be taken away from you. And that resilience is what allows you to conquer the challenges life throws at you. Because life will always contain difficulty. There will always be setbacks, uncertainty, and pressure. But the individual who has trained their mind does not collapse under those conditions. They adapt, they learn, they continue moving forward. That persistence eventually overwhelms most obstacles. This is why mastering your potential is so powerful. It turns you into someone who refuses to stay defeated, someone who refuses to stay small, someone who refuses to waste the ability they were given. And when you reach that mindset, the world starts looking different. Problems become opportunities to grow stronger. challenges become invitations to prove your resilience. The limits that once intimidated you begin looking like doors waiting to be opened. That shift is the moment you realize the truth you've been hearing throughout this entire message. You truly had no idea how great you were capable of becoming. Not because greatness was impossible, but because you had never pushed yourself far enough to see it. But now you know something different. Your potential is not fixed. It is expandable. Every time you demand more from yourself, it grows. Every time you confront difficulty instead of avoiding it, it grows. Every time you replace excuses with action, it grows. That growth has no clear ceiling. The human mind and body are capable of far more than we currently understand, but those abilities only appear for individuals willing to chase them relentlessly. So the final question is simple. Will you continue living inside the small version of yourself that comfort created? Or will you step forward into the stronger version that discipline reveals? Because that stronger version is already inside you, waiting for the moment you decide that average effort is no longer enough, and that your potential deserves to be fully unleashed.